Once upon a time, in the busy city of Lagos, there lived a rich man named Chijoke. He had everything money could buy: big houses, fancy cars, and a lot of people worked for him. But Chijoke was not happy. He wanted something money could not buy: true love. Chijoke believed that the women he met only liked him because he was rich. So one day, he made a secret plan. He decided to pretend to be poor and work as a chapati maker on the street. "I'll find a woman who loves me for who I am, not for my money," he thought. Chijoke put on old clothes, borrowed a small card, and went on a busy street corner. He had learned how to make delicious chapatis from his cook, so he started cooking. The smell of fresh chapatis filled the air, and soon people began to gather around his cart. At first, it was hard for Chijoke. The sun was hot and his hands were tired from making chapatis all day. He was not used to this kind of work, but he kept going. He smiled at everyone who came to buy from him and tried his best to be friendly. One day, a young woman named Amara stopped by his cart. She was not very rich, but she had a kind heart and a bright smile. She brought one chapati and complimented Chijoke on how delicious it tasted. "You make the best chapatis I have ever eaten," she said. Chijoke smiled back. "Thank you, madam," he replied, his heart beating a little faster. Amara began to come day by day, and soon they started to talk and they laughed and shared stories. And Chijoke felt a warmth in his heart that he had never felt before. Chijoke liked Amara a lot, but he was worried. What if she finds out I'm not really poor? He wondered. He was afraid that if she knew he was rich, she might change how she felt about him. Amara, on the other side, began to notice that Ochike was different. He speaks so well and has manners like someone who has been to school. She thought. She was curious but didn't ask too many questions. She liked him just the way he was, a humble chapati maker with a big smile. Every day, Chijoke looked forward to seeing Amara. He realized he has fallen in love with her, but the secret of his true identity weighed heavy on his mind. He knew he had to tell her someday, but he didn't know how and when. One evening, Chijoke decided to test if Amara truly cared for him. He told her a story about how he was saving money to send his little sister to school. Amara listened with tears in her eyes. "If only I had more money, I would help you," she said. The next day, Amara came to the cart with a small box. "I don't have much, but I want to help your sister," she said, handing him a box. Inside were all her saving, few naira notes and some coins. Chijoke was touched by her kindness. His heart swelled with emotion. "Why would you do this for me?" he asked. "Because I believe in you," Amara replied. "You are a good person, and I want to help you in any way I can." Chijoke smiled, his eyes shining with unanswered tears. He had never met anyone like Amara before, but still he kept his secret. One day, while Chijoke was making chapati, a group of well-dressed men came to the street corner. They were his business partners. They were shocked to see him dressed like a poor chapati maker. "Chijoke, what are you doing here?" one of them asked loudly. Amara, who was standing nearby, heard everything. Her heart sank. "Is it true?" she asked, looking at Chijoke with wide eyes. Chijoke's heart pounded in his chest. He had to decide. Should he tell the truth, or should he keep on pretending? Chijoke took a deep breath. He knew the moment has come to reveal his secret. "Yes, it is true," he confessed to Amara. I'm not a poor chapati maker. I'm a rich businessman. I pretended to be poor to find someone who would love me for who I am, not for my money. Amara stood still, shocked by what she has heard, her eyes filled with tears. "Why didn't you tell me the truth from the beginning?" she asked, her voice trembling. Chijioke felt a knot in his stomach. "I was afraid, Amara. I didn't want you to like me just because I was rich. I wanted to be sure your feelings were real." Amara turned away, wiping her tear from her cheek. "I liked you because of your kindness and your honesty, but now I don't know what to believe." Chijioke's heart sank. He wanted to hold her, to explain everything, but he knew he had hurt her trust. Amara left the Chapati card without another word. Chijioke watched her walking away, feeling the pain in his chest he had never felt before. He had found the woman he truly loved, but now he feared he had lost her forever. Days passed, but Amara did not come to the Chapati card. Chijioke waited, hoping she would return, but she never did. He felt empty inside. He realized that he missed her more than anything in this world. He had everything, money, cars, but without Amara, none of it mattered. Chijioke decided he would not give up. He had to find her and make things right. He wanted to prove to her that his love was true, that he would go or do anything to win her trust back. Chijioke started asking around, looking for Amara. He went to places they had talked about, the markets, the little shops, and even asked her neighbors. Everyone knew her, but no one had seen her recently. One day, while searching, Chijioke met an old woman who knew Amara well. "She has a kind heart, that one," the woman said. "But she has been very sad lately. I think she has gone to her village to be with her family." Chijioke thanked the woman and decided to go to Amara's village. He was determined to find her and tell her how much he loved her. The journey to Amara's village was long and tiring. Chijioke drove through dusty roads and small towns, passing fields and forests. He had never traveled like this before. He felt nervous, but he kept thinking of Amara's smile, her laughter, and the kindness in her eyes. When he finally reached the village, he asked around for Amara's house. The villagers looked at him curiously. They wondered why a rich man like Chijioke was looking for a simple girl. Some even laughed at him, thinking he was lost. But Chijioke did not care. He had come too far to turn back now. At last, Chijioke found Amara's house, a small hut with thatched roof and a little garden in front. His heart pounded as he knocked on the door. After a few moments, the door opened, and there stood Amara, her eyes wide with surprise. "Chijioke, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice filled with both shock and confusion. "I came to find you, Amara," Chijioke replied. "I could not stop thinking about you. I realized that I don't care about anything else. I just want you to know how much I love you." Amara looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You hurt me, Ojoke," she whispered. "I don't know if I can trust you again." Chijioke felt a deep sadness, but he also felt hope. "I know I made a mistake," he said softly, "but I promise I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I love you, Amara, with all my heart." Amara sighed, wiping away her tears. She could see the sincerity in his eyes, but was it enough? Amara stood in the doorway, her heart torn. She could see that Chijioke was sincere, but she still felt a sting of his deception. "I don't know if I can just forget what happened," she said quietly. "I need time to think." Chijioke nodded. understanding her hesitation. "I will wait as long as you need, Amara," he replied. "I'll stay here in the village if I have to. I just want a chance to prove my love to you." Amara looked at him, surprised. "Stay here, in my village?" she asked, raising her eyebrows. "Yes," Chijoko said firmly. "I will live like you live. I'll help you with chores, fetch water, work in the field, whatever it takes to show you that my feelings are real." Amara's lips curved into a small smile. "All right, Chijoke, we will see if you truly mean it." The next day, Chijoke began his new life in the village. He woke up early as the roosters crowded. He helped the villagers with their daily tasks. He fetched water from the well, carried firewood, and even learned how to plant crops in the fields. At first, the villagers laughed at him, looking at the rich man trying to live like us. They chuckled, but soon they saw that he was serious. Chijoke worked harder, never complained, even when his hands were bruised, and his back ached carrying heavy words. Amara watched him from a distance, her heart softened little by little. She saw the way he struggled never to give up. She saw him share food with the children and help the elders with their chores. She saw his genuine effort, and it made her start to believe that maybe, just maybe, he truly loved her. One evening, after a long day of work, Amara invited Chijoke to sit by the fire with her family. They shared a simple meal of yam and pepper soup. Chijoke was tired, but he smiled as he ate, grateful to be near Amara. Amara's mother, Mama Nchike, watched them closely. She had seen how Chijoko had worked in the village and how he had treated everyone with respect. She turned to Amara and whispered, "This man is different. I think he truly cares for you, my daughter." Amara nodded slowly. He had seen it too, but he was still afraid to open up her heart again. "I don't want to get hurt, Mama," she whispered back. Mama Nkechi smiled and patted her hand. "Sometimes, my child, we have to take risk for love." The village was preparing for its annual festival, a time of dancing, singing, and celebration. Chijoke decided he wanted to help with preparations. He joined men in building a stage and helped women preparing food. The villagers were surprised and impressed by his willingness to be part of their community. On the day of the festival, Chijoke wore simple village outfit just like everyone else. He danced with the children, sang with the elders, laughed with young men. Everyone could see that he was truly happy. During the celebration, Amara watched him from far. She saw his joy, his laughter, and the way he treated everyone with kindness. Her heart beat faster. She began to realize how much she missed him. That night, after the festival, Chijoke and Amara sat under the tree. The sky was clear and the moon shone bright. Chijoke turned to Amara, his eyes filled with hope. "I've never felt this way about anyone before. You have made me want to be a better man. I know I made a mistake, but I promise I'll never lie to you again." Amara took a deep breath. She felt the truth in his words, the honesty in his eyes. "Chijoke," she whispered, "I believe you. I see how hard you've tried, how much you have given. I see the God in you." Chijoke's heart sobbed. "Does this mean you've forgiven me?" he asked, his voice trembling with hope. Amara nodded, a soft smile on her face. "Yes, Chijoke, I forgave you." Chijoke's face broke into a wide grin, and he felt tears of joy fill his eyes. He gently took her hand in his, holding it tight. "Thank you, Amara," he whispered. "I promise I'll never let you down again." From that day, Chijioke and Amara began to rebuild their relationship. They spent time together, walked through the fields, sharing stories and laughed under the trees. They learned more about each other, their dreams, their fears, and their hope for the future. Chijioke continued to work hard in the village, earning the respect of everyone around. The villagers began to accept him as their own, no longer laughing at the rich man who had come to their village. Slowly but surely, Amara's heart healed. She saw the goodness in Chijioke's actions and sincerity in his words. She felt the love that grew between them, stronger and true. But deep inside, a small voice still whispered to her, "Is it too good to be true?" One sunny afternoon, while Chijioke was helping Amara in her family's garden, a fancy car rolled into the village. The car was shiny and big, something the villagers had never seen before. Everyone stopped what they were doing to watch as the car came to their hut. A man in a suit stepped out of the car, looking very important. He was Chijioke's uncle, Mr. Emeka, who had been searching for him since he left the mansion in Lagos. He had rumors of Chijioke's strange adventure and had come to take him back. "Chijioke," Mr. Emeka called out, his voice loud and commanding. "What are you doing here? Living like this?" Chijioke stood up, wiping the dirt from his hand. "Uncle Emeka, I'm here because I found something money can't buy," he replied calmly. The villagers whispered among themselves, curious about who this man was and what he wanted. Mr. Emeka frowned. "You have a business to run. People are depending on you. You cannot stay in this village and waste your life like this," he quoted. Chijioke shook his head. "I'm not wasting my life, uncle. For the first time, I feel alive. I found true love here," he said, looking at Amara with a smile. Mr. Emeka's face grew stern. "Love? With this village girl?" he scoffed. "You need to come back to the city and marry someone of your status." Chijioke felt a rush of hunger. "I don't care about status. I care about the heart," he said firmly. Mr. Emeka then made a bold threat. "If you stay here, I'll cut you off. You'll lose everything. The business, the money, the house. You'll be left with nothing." Chijioke stood tall. "Then I choose nothing," he said. "If having everything means losing Amara, I would rather have nothing." Amara's heart skipped a beat as she listened to Chijioke's words. She could see the determination in his eyes, but also felt fear. "Chijioke, are you sure about this?" she whispered. "I don't want you to lose everything because of me." Chijioke turned to her, his eyes gentle. "I have already made my choice, Amara," he said softly. "You are my everything." Mr. Emeka shook his head in disbelief. "You are making a big mistake," he warned. "Think carefully. Is this village life truly what you want?" Chijioke did not hesitate. "Yes, uncle, it is," he answered confidently. Mr. Emeka sighed, defeated. "Very well," he said. "Do not come back to me when you realized you've lost." With that, he turned and left, driving away his shiny car. After Mr. Emeka left, the villagers gathered around Chijioke and Amara. They had heard everything and were moved by Chijioke's decision to stay. They clapped and cheered, their faces filled with admiration. "You are a brave man, Chijioke," said Papa Obina, an elder of the village. "You have chosen love over riches, and that is something special." Chijioke smiled humbly. "Thank you, Papa Obina," he replied. I've learned that true wealth is not in money, but in the love and kindness we share. Amara felt tear roll down her cheek. She realized how much Ochike had given up for her. "You are my hero," she whispered to him, her heart full of love. Chijioke took her hand and squeezed it gently. "You are my heart," he whispered back. With Mr. Emeka gone, Ochike decided to start a new life in the village with Amara. He bought a small piece of land and built a modest house with the help of the villagers. He continued making chapatis at his cart, and soon everyone in the village and the nearby towns knew of the man who gave up everything for love. People came from far and wide to taste his delicious chapati and hear his story. The business was booming, but this time Ochike felt different kind of happiness and joy of honest work and true love. Amara helped him every day at the cart. They laughed together, worked together, and dreamed together. Their love grew stronger with each passing day. One day, Amara noticed she was feeling different. She felt tired and dizzy, and her mother noticed she had a certain glow about her. Mama Nkechi took her aside and asked, "Amara, my child, could it be that you are expecting?" Amara's eyes widened with surprise. "I don't know, Mom," she replied, her heart racing with excitement. Mama Nchike smiled. "Let us go to the midwife and find out." The midwife confirmed the news. Amara was going to have a baby. She was overjoyed and ran to tell Ochike. When he heard the news, he laughed and hugged her tightly. "This is the best gift I could ever have received," he said, tears coming from his eyes. The news of the baby spread through the village like wildfire. Everyone was excited and came to congratulate the couple. The women offered to help Amara with her chores, and then men promised to help Ochike build a bigger house for his growing family. Ochike felt blessed beyond measure. He had found everything he ever wanted: love, happiness, and now a family. But little did he know, a new challenge was about to come his way. One evening, dark clouds began to gather in the sky. The air was heavy and the wind blew fiercely through the village. Everyone hurried to their homes, sensing a big storm was coming. Ochike and Amara were at their little house, preparing dinner. As the first raindrops began to fall, Ochike looked out the window. "It looks like a strong storm," he said, worried. "Let me go outside and secure the chapati cart." Amara nodded. "Be quick, Ochike. The storm is getting worse." Ochike ran outside, fighting against the strong wind and heavy rain. He tied down the cart and covered it with a trap. Just as he returned to go back inside, a loud crack of thunder shook the ground and lightning lit up the sky. He ran back to the house, drenching but safe. Amara welcomed him with a towel, and they sat close together, listening to the storm raging outside. "I'm glad you're safe," Amara whispered. Ochike smiled and held her close. "As long as I'm with you, I'm always safe," he replied. The storm lasted throughout the night, and by morning, the village was a mess. Trees had fallen and many houses were damaged. Ochike and Amara's home was mostly intact, but the roof had few holes. The villagers came together to help each other. Ochike quickly joined the men in clearing the fallen trees and fixing roofs. Amara helped the women preparing food for everyone who needed it. The villagers were grateful for Ochike's help. "You have truly become one of us," Papa Obina said, patting her on the back. Ochike felt a warmth glow in his heart. We are all family here, he replied, feeling more connected to the village than ever. Few days after the storm, a stranger arrived in the village. He was a tall man with serious look, and he carried a letter in his hand. He asked around until he found Ochike. "Are you Ochike?" the man asked. Ochike nodded. "Yes, I am." The man handed him the letter and said, "This is for you. It is from the city." He turned and left without another word. Ochike looked at the letter, his hands trembling. It had a seal of his uncle, Mr. Emeka. He quickly opened it and began to read. Amara watched him closely, noticing the worry on his face. "What does it say?" she asked, her heart pounding. Ochike's face turned pale. "Uncle Emeka is very sick. He wants me to come to the city," he said softly. Amara's heart sank. "Will you go?" she asked, fearing what is the answer he might give. Ochike sighed deeply. "I don't know, Amara. I need to think about this." That night, Ochike couldn't sleep. He laid awake, thinking about his uncle. Mr. Emeka had always been harsh and demanding, but he was still family. Ochike remembered how his uncle had raised him after his parents passed away, giving him everything he needed. Amara sat beside him, holding his hand. "If you feel you need to go, I'll understand," she said softly. "Promise me you'll come back." Ochike turned to her, his eyes filled with emotions. "I promise, Amara. No matter what, I'll come back to you." Amara nodded, her heart inching at the thought of him leaving. "Then you must go and see him," she whispered. "He's still your family." Ochike kissed her forehead. "Thank you for understanding," he replied. "I'll go and return quickly." The next morning, Ochike packed a small bag. The villagers gathered around to say goodbye, wishing him a safe journey. "Come back soon, Ochike," Papa Obina said, shaking his hand. "The village will miss you." Ochike smiled. "I'll miss you, all of you," he replied, "but I promise I won't be gone for long." He turned to Amara and hugged her tightly. "Take care of yourself and the baby," he whispered. Amara nodded, holding back tears. "Come back soon, my love," she whispered. With a heavy heart, Ochike left the village hoping he would return soon. When Ochike arrived in the city, he was surprised by how much he had missed it. The noise, the crowds, and the bright lights. But he quickly pushed those thoughts aside and went straight to his uncle's house. Mr. Emeka was lying in bed, looking sick and tired. He opened his eyes when he saw Ochike and smiled weakly. "You came," he said softly. Ochike nodded. "Of course, uncle. You are still my family," he replied. Mr. Ochike sighed. "I've been wrong, Ochike. I was angry that you left everything behind. But now I see that you were right to follow your heart," he confessed. "I'm old and sick. I need your help to run the businesses." Ochike felt torn. He wanted to help his uncle, but he had promised Amara he would return soon. Mr. Emeka continued. "If you stay, I'll give you everything. The businesses, the house, all the wealth. You must promise me to stay in the city." Ochike's heart pounded. He had always dreamed of running the family business, but now he had a different dream. A simple life with Amara and their child. He thought carefully and finally spoke. "Uncle, I cannot stay here forever. My heart belongs in the village with Amara. But I'll help you until you're well," he said firmly. Mr. Emeka nodded, tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Ochike. I understand," he replied. "You truly have a good heart." Ochike smiled. "I'll make sure everything is in order, but then I must return to my home." As Ochike stayed in the city, He began to fix things in the business. He worked hard just like he did in the village, and soon the business was running smoothly again. He called Amara every night, promising he would come back. One day, Mr. Emeka made a surprising announcement. "Ochike," he said, "I have decided to sell the business and move to the village with you." Ochike was shocked. "But uncle, are you sure?" he asked. Mr. Emeka nodded. "I want to see the place that changed you, the place where you found true love, and I want to live my remaining days in peace." Ochike felt a wave of happiness. "Then let us go together," he said, smiling. Ochike and Mr. Emeka returned to the village together. The villagers were surprised to see them both, but they welcomed Mr. Emeka with open arms. Amara ran to Ochike, tears of joy in her eyes. "You are back," she cried, hugging him tightly. Ochike laughed. "I told you I would come back," he replied, kissing her forehead. Mr. Emeka looked around the village, feeling the sense of peace he had never known. "This is a special place," he said softly. "I see why you chose it." Amara smiled. "Welcome to our home," she said warmly. The villagers threw a big celebration to welcome Ochike and Mr. Emeka. There was dancing, singing, and delicious food. Mr. Emeka laughed and danced with the villagers, feeling happier than he had had in years. Ochike and Amara stood together, watching everyone celebrate. "This is the life I want," Ochike whispered to Amara. "Simple, happy, and full of love." Amara nodded, her heart full. "I feel the same," she replied. "And now we can share it together with your uncle too." Few months later, Amara went into labor. The whole village gathered outside the house, waiting anxiously. Ochike stayed by her side, holding her hand, his heart pounding with excitement and worry. After what felt like hours, a cry filled the room. The cry of the newborn baby. The midwife smiled and announced, "It's a baby boy." Ochike felt tears fill his eyes as he held his son for the first time. "He's perfect," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Amara smiled, tired but happy. "We did it," she said softly. The village celebrated the birth of the baby with joy and music. Ochike and Amara named their son Chinedu, which means God leads in their language. They knew that their lives had been led by something greater than themselves, something that brought them together and blessed them with love. Mr. Emeka held the baby in his arms and smiled. "This is the future," he said softly. The village embraced the new family, sharing them with gifts and good wishes. Ochike and Amara's home was filled with laughter and joy as they began their new journey as parents. The village became their extended family, supporting them and sharing in their happiness. With Mr. Emeka now living in the village, he found solace in the simple life and began to understand the values Ochike had discovered. He helped Ochike with the Chapati cart, learning to appreciate the hard work and satisfaction that came from it. One day, Mr. Emeka said to Ochike, "I see now why you chose this life. It's not about wealth, but about love and community. I'm grateful for the chance to learn this." Ochike nodded, feeling proud. "I'm glad you understand, Uncle. This village has taught me more than I ever learned in the city." Ochike and Mr. Emeka decided to open a small shop selling various goods that the villagers needed. They used the money from the business sale in the city to help fund it. The shop became a vital part of the village, providing much-needed supplies and creating more jobs for the villagers. Amara continued to run the Chapati cart, and Ochike often helped her. They were happy with their new roles, blending with their old lives with the new ones. The baby Chinedu was always the center of their lives, bringing joy to everyone around him. One day, a young girl named Neka moved to the village with her family. She was curious and kind-hearted. She often visited Ochike and Amara's home, quickly becoming friends with little Chinedu. Neka admired Amara's cooking skills and asked her to teach her how to make chapati. Amara agreed, and soon Neka became an excellent cook, helping out at the cart and learning valuable skills. Ochike noticed how happy Neka was and thought about how much the village had given him. "It's wonderful to see new people finding their place here," he said to Amara. Amara agreed. "The village has a way of bringing people together," she said, smiling. The village organized a grand celebration to mark the anniversary of Ochike and Amara's arrival. There were dances, songs, and feasts that included chapati made by Amara and Neka. The village was vibrant and lively, filled with joy and unity. Mr. Emeka stood before the crowd and gave a heartfelt speech. "Today, we celebrate not just people who have come into our lives, but also the love and the community that binds us together. I have learned so much from this village and from Ochike and Amara." The villagers cheered and clapped, raising their glasses in a toast. Ochike and Amara looked at each other with knowing they had found something truly special. As the years went by, Ochike and Amara continued to live a happy and fulfilling life. Their son Chinedu grew up surrounded by love and kindness. The village became a place where dreams were nurtured and love was celebrated. Ochike often thought about his journey from a wealthy businessman to a chapati maker, and finally to a beloved member of the village. He realized his true wealth was not in money, but in the relationships he had built and the love he had found. One evening, as the sun set over the village, Ochike and Emeka sat together watching Chinedu playing with his friends. Ochike turned to Amara and said, "We made the right choice, didn't we?" Amara smiled and took his hand. "Yes, we did. Our life here is everything we could ever hoped for." Ochike nodded, feeling contented. As the stars trickled above, Ochike, Amara, and Chinedu felt a sense of peace and happiness. They had found their true home, and their story was of love, sacrifice, and the joy of simple living. And so, their journey continued, filled with hope and the promise of the bright future. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for stopping by. Everything is not all about money. Money can step aside and you follow your heart. So we see this man from being a rich man, a billionaire, to a chapati maker just to find true love and happiness. Can you sacrifice that for the love of your life or anything that you think it is worthy? Can you do that? Can you put money aside and do what you want, what you feel that is right in your heart? So I believe that you've enjoyed it. Leave something in the comment section. Just let me know what you think. Can you do what this man did for his love? Bye bye. See you in my next video. I love you all.